So thank you for joining my community ally. Today we are going to be talking with RJ from Marine Clean. So RJ, you do power washing. Why power wash?
So power washing is one of the quickest, most efficient ways to reduce harmful bacteria and algae mold from building up on the exteriors of homes as well as businesses. And it's also one of the quickest ways to increase a lot of big things that come with that, extending the life of your driveway, patio, deck, siding, roofing, gutters. These are all examples of things that preventative measures that you can take on an annual or semi-annual basis to increase the longevity of your home's exterior or business's exterior. So really just one of the quickest ways to increase that value, as well as prevent any harmful chemical or bacterias from getting inside the house and creating more damage. So, and then also there's just a very seeing the progress being made from one job to the next. Very satisfying, very rewarding.
Yeah, it is for sure. I know that we've mentioned before that I have scrubbed the back patio for a long time and not even thinking that it would have been much faster and much more less painstaking to have somebody just power wash it. So that's definitely one of those things. Areas that grow moss or ivy, things that can damage your property, definitely you want to get those things off. Plus the aesthetics, right? So that's always a good thing. So have you ever done something and stood back? And I know it's kind of cathartic and kind of fun because you go from dingy to sparkly, but is there something that's been extra amazing?
I'd like to think that I stand back in amazement from every job that I do. I'm very detail oriented. In the Marines for 10 years. So I have a high level of integrity and pride in what I do. So I know that, nobody's going to be able to clean a service better than I can, especially when it comes to the home or office in this area. I like to think that every job being itself is unique, from sidings to gutters to whole home cleaning or office cleanings. But every one of them, you can stand back in amazement just looking at the before and after and the huge difference and impact that it does make on those properties.
Right. At the end of this, we will go ahead and add some pictures so people can see those before and afters, and they are great. And I want to thank you for your service. It's definitely an amazing thing. My dad too was a Marine, so I really appreciate it. Um, I
Very
know that
appreciated.
absolutely. I know that we think about cleaning fences, patios. Some people don't think about the gutters. Can you clean gutters that have a gutter guard?
So we can clean gutters with a gutter guard. There's something that we use in the business called a shepherd's hook. What it does is it allows us to get up underneath those guards just in a very small amount of space to where we're actually able to blast all of that, whatever's in there out. Typically with those gutter guards, you're not going to run into as much of the sticks and leaves that you would have if you had a property that had overhanging trees, which is a whole different category. But with those gutter guards, yeah, we have, tools that we use in the business that allow us to clean those out properly, professionally, killing any mold and bacteria in there to prevent stoppages in those drainage. So it ultimately it extends the life of your property. So that way you don't have leaks coming in where they're not supposed to, damage to the roof, damage to the siding, or whatever's below that gutter system on the house, which most of the time is plants or foliage around the properties.
Right, absolutely. I do know we have bees in ours, so the boring bees can bore up in there. So just to displace any sort of nesting that they've done, we also have a bird's nest, and we would not mess with that. But the bees we would mess with to get, because they can do damage further than just that, because they bore by nature and we don't want them in our house. What are you most,
Definitely.
yeah, no, definitely not. What are you most proud of?
I'd have to say, I mean, for a long time, growing up, I've always wanted to own my own business. So it's something that is mine that I take great pride in as far as the work and the business goes. I also was very proud that I was able to start this during this economic contraction that's going on with the COVID-19. I feel like the services that we're providing, we're actually on top of just extending the life of the exterior of your home and those surfaces. We want the home exterior to match the interior, and what people are putting in right now to ensure that their family is safe and healthy, and that everybody that is residing in the home is well taken care of. And I'd like to make sure that the inside, is reflected by the outside. You drive past neighborhoods and you see, beautiful homes that have, blemishes or mold or any type of discoloration on the brick or the siding. And, it just looks bad for the whole neighborhood. So, if you got one clean house in the middle of everything, it looks way different. And ultimately people are going to start looking for who can do that work for them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And in real estate, the first impression is the only impression you get, right? You only get it one time. And so it does not cost very much, but the value in that is immense. And so I often recommend, if something looks dingy, whether it be roof, if you're in a shaded area, moss easily can grow on roof spaces.
Especially the north side of the homes.
Such. Yeah, this is saying it's unstable again. I'm afraid we're going to shut down again, but hopefully we don't.
I saw you kind of, it froze up a little bit, but I figured we were good. I could still hear you.
I'm hoping not. We'll just keep going. All right. So what do you love most about what you do?
Like I said, there's an extreme satisfaction in the videos that I shared with you. You'll be able to see the significant impact and difference immediately upon treating those surfaces with the chemical, even just high pressure wash on certain surfaces. It's extremely satisfying. Just like the videos people see online of, people cutting through things or peeling things. It's a very satisfying feeling for me to be able to step into a space that is extremely dirty or mildly dirty and be able to get that to 100% cleanliness. Like I said before, just matching the exterior with the interior that I know everybody's putting into their homes right now. There's no reason that the exterior should match the interior work.
So you mentioned chemicals. Are the chemicals safe, outdoor safe, kid friendly, pet friendly, plant friendly?
So there's a lot that goes into the chemicals. I mean, anybody that pressure washing or exterior cleaning for any period of time will get excited when it comes to chemicals. Everybody likes to think that they have their own special batch. They are pretty abrasive and very harsh. I wear a regulator when I go out, when I am using chemicals on rooftops, which, it's a soft wash process, so you can't put as much pressure on there. So you have to rely on the extremes of those chemicals to do most of that cleaning process for you, which ultimately just makes it a little bit easier for us whenever it comes to, rinsing and ensuring that the property is not being damaged while still getting the most effective clean. So if you're at the home while I'm doing it, stay inside. Now, there are special chemicals that I will use depending on what the project is. If there's going to be any type of plant or foliage or, landscape that has been done around the home, I'm always going to, take those special precautions to make sure that the chemical mixes I'm using are plant safe. In those environments, it may take a little bit more elbow grease on my end to get those surfaces as clean as I'd like them to be, but at least I'm not damaging any of the property or any of the landscape or plants around the home or business. So with the chemicals, I mean, it's a lot of fun to get into the science of it. It's a whole nother fascinating portion of the job. But yeah, I mean, they are harmful for the most part, but at the same time, I take extreme precautions to ensure the safety of the home and business owners that I'm, providing these services for, as well as myself.
Right, and they're short term; they're not long term. They don't stay. So as soon
Correct.
As,
yeah. I did a siding wash on Saturday, and I came back out on it was Tuesday, and you could still smell. But that was just because it was a very dirty, very heavily treated area. But within a few days, one rain will get that smell away. But ultimately, the chemical is supposed to sit on the home or property for after the rinse is done, still just to make sure that it kills all that bacteria and mold that could be left behind.
Right. Yes. As I mentioned in scrubbing, I used over a gallon of bleach and then another cleaner and 3 hours, and I was very sore the next day. So I'll take it. So we've talked before, and one thing that is kind of trendy right now, and also people have some extra time on their hands, and so I've seen it more, is painting concrete. So let's say by the end of the winter, some things have grown into that. Can you spray that, or will it take up the paint?
So, and it really all that's going to boil down to is who did your painting and sealing for your surfaces. The large majority of professional contractors in the painting realm are going to use materials that will make it safe to put pressure on, as well as chemical that won't wash or be abrasive to the actual color of the paint. So other things with that though, recently a job that I'd done in the area, there was abrasions on the deck. So it wasn't just that the deck was painted and treated. There was areas where they had moved furniture across the deck. It scratched up the paint. And so it left small abrasions where those scratches were, which is down to the concrete. There's not much I can do about eliminating those blackish or darker areas on the concrete, just because it's the concrete itself through the paint. Now, again, to answer your question completely, no, it's not abrasive or it's not harmful to the paint if that was done correctly. Now, whenever I come out to a property, especially if it's a newer area or somebody's not too familiar of who handled that work for them, I'll always do a test patch before I ever start the job itself. Just to ensure that the chemicals that I'm using are the correct mix, that they're going to be the most abrasive towards those bacteria, algae, and any dirt and buildup on there, but that are also going to be safe on the paint and not destroy or damage any of the work that was done previously.
Wonderful. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to share with us that maybe we don't know about power washing?
I mean, there's multi uses for it, from the exterior of your home, extending the life of, like I said, exterior surfaces. I mean, you can get in there, you can do warehouses. I know people with, mechanic shops every couple of months, they want to get all the grease and stuff out of their auto body area or the repair area. So it's very good for things like that. It's really great if you are a homeowner that has one, even low pressure, that can blow out your gutter line. So that way all the, living in the Virginia area, especially Northern Virginia, there's a lot of car traffic. There's a lot of dirt, debris in the air, and those things will set on a roof. And then once that rain comes, will brush into the gutters, and ultimately over time will build up I don't know, about a foot section of dirt and buildup in your gutters to where it's just pouring over the edge. You can use that pressure just to blow those lines clear. Anything, literally anything you'd like to have for exterior surface clean, from vehicles to fleet services. I mean, businesses, homes, they can all be taken care of. And then one of the final remarks that I'd like to leave is when I come out to a property, aside from doing the estimate, creating a relationship with the home or business owner, which I'm very huge on networking. I think that's one of the things that's going to propel anybody in any industry, is just knowing the right people, like yourself at this meeting here. So I always guarantee customer satisfaction. I won't leave a property until they're satisfied with the results. And then I have a 48-hour rule where I follow up with every single customer that I have within 48 hours of completion of job, just to make sure that they haven't noticed anything that I may have missed, which is very unlikely, just because I am so anal and detail oriented when it comes to that. But I always do the 48-hour follow-up just to make sure they're satisfied, see if there's any other opportunities to do more work on their home or business. Always like to ask for those referrals or great reviews if it's a job well done, which so far it has been. And I always like to say, it's Marines, we're hard-headed, being in the military for a long time in the Marine Corps. One of the things we pride ourselves on is our hard work, so nobody's going to get the properties cleaner than Marines will. and like I said, I stand by my work. If it's not something up to their satisfaction, then I'll come out and take care of all of it for free. And I have no problem with
Yeah, I've never met a lazy Marine. I'll say
that.
that.
They're far and few between, but they exist.
I'm sure they exist somewhere, but I've not yet met one. I do know that I myself have recommended you, and I also called to follow up after recommendations, and she was very pleased. So I appreciate you taking good care of her. She
Absolutely.
will also refer out, which is always what you're talking about with networking and starting it that way. I know this is fairly new for you. When you were thinking about business, did you always want to be outside? Like, is that part of what you like so much about this?
So I found myself in sales moving out of the military. I was with infantry for my first enlistment, moved over to the intelligence community. So I got to do a lot more in-person, briefings and interviews, and I got very well at public speaking and interacting with, higher echelons of service members. So people that were a little bit further out of my scope that I wouldn't typically be conversing with. So it created a lot of opportunities for me there. I learned a lot as far as, public speaking, communications, and one of the biggest things, I'm a very personal individual. I've always been told I'll talk to the dirt on the floor. I've never met a stranger. And I think that's one of the things that's made me successful up to this point, just starting the business here. I mean, April, I got my license and the insurance. So I've only done a handful of jobs so far. Everybody's been satisfied. I've gotten, great responses back with a lot of great referrals, especially from the ones that you recommended. And your friend that you mentioned, I'm very satisfied that she was satisfied with the job as well. So that's what I like to hear. And yeah, so, I mean, for me, it's just, I put all I can into every project that I do, whether it's something small or something large. And I'm going to carry it out, and I'm going to do it with the best of my abilities and the fullest of my intent. And if you want somebody to get the job done right the first time, then I'm the one you want to depend on. I don't like to see these things, these other companies in the area. And I would never say anything bad about anybody. But you see the reviews and people are not satisfied with the work, and they don't do anything to remediate that. And I think that's why I'm going to be successful in this area, in this realm.
I agree with you, and I think that's a great place to leave off. I really appreciate you and appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me today on my Community Ally. And I will post this along with pictures, and you can find Marine Clean. I will put the information for that for anybody that watches. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Jessica. It was a pleasure being here, and I wish you guys all the best.
Thank you. Best to you.